In the mothership from the Independent Women's Forum, Julie Gunlock joins us this afternoon. Julie, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. You having a good week? You having a good summer?
Good summer. We just got back from the beach, so I'm feeling rested and tan. It's been nice.
Good. By the way, last night I found a cool place. If you guys ever want to do like a weekend trip and go down, have you been to Lynchburg at all?
I used to live in Lynchburg when I was really little, but I haven't been there recently.
Okay. It might make a great fall weekend trip with the colors and the Blue Ridge Mountains and everything. But at Liberty University, they have this thing called the Snowflex Center. I've been talking about this for a week. Finally got the kids there last night.
No, I saw this. I think you posted a video, right?
Yeah, on
Terrifying.
my Instagram account.
Terrifying. No, I'm not going.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It looked very scary.
This is the coolest thing. Oh no, it was fine. You're like my I won't give the kid who was freaked out last night a hard time on the air. But no, I'm not. But you're like that child of mine.
Yeah.
Sweet child of mine. And by the way, congratulations to Guns N' Roses. Something like 27 years ago, 2 days ago. 27 years and 2 days ago, it was the release of Appetite for Destruction. Did you know that, Julie?
I was old when that came out. I mean, I'm getting so old that doesn't. I mean, I remember when that came out. That's so frightening. God.
I know. And I actually heard Guns N' Roses last night at the Liberty University Snowflake Center, which I have to say kind of surprised me because, Liberty University.
Right.
I heard Black Sabbath.
Really?
I heard Black Sabbath. Yeah. So
who was behind the control center?
I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but
someone's fired.
Just saying, there was probably some very un-Falwellian music being played there at the Snowflake Center last night, which was fine. Everybody, I didn't see any black masses or anything taking place, so I think it was all good. But it was so much fun, and I would encourage you to take the kids. They've got these tubes that you go down, very slick, and so you go 35, 40 miles an hour and you spin around. And then they've got this facility. It's all outdoors, but there's this fake snow surface, and there were people snowboarding, and there were people skiing. Yeah. So if you know how to ski, or if your kids know how to ski or snowboard, it would be a kind of a fun, cool thing to do, I would think.
Okay. Thanks for the tip. I'm not going to go down that terrifying slide, but maybe I'll encourage my kids to do it.
So alarmist. You're so alarmist, Julie.
I know. What are they thinking? Sorry.
What is wrong with terrifyingly fast, long slides?
So in the winter, is that covered with snow and you go down sort of the same way, but it's covered with snow?
Don't know. This was the first time we made it out. It was 90-something degrees when we made it there. But I'll have to ask. And I'm sure we'll be going out there. I mean, the kids, as soon as we left, when can we go back?
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, they had a very good time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They had a really, really good time.
Good.
And even the kid who was terrified of the slide the first time, they were fine. They had a great time. They were on the slide all night long. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we went in the evening, so we didn't have to put sunscreen on them. So that was good. Because apparently sunscreen can kill you.
Nice
right?
segue. Nice. Well done.
I'm a broadcast professional.
Yes, that's the latest issue now. Sunscreen is going to kill you. By merely applying it, you are harming your children with dangerous synthetic chemicals. That's the latest screed we're seeing come out of environmental groups.
Okay. So are they recommending like the all-natural ancient Egyptian sunscreen of smearing sheep dung all over you?
Practically.
Just rub that into a nice dirty sheen there, and you'll be fine.
Practically.
You'll smell like sheep dung, unfortunately, but you won't
You'll be
get a
alone on the
sunburn.
beach, but yeah. Practically, they suggest you can do one of two things. You can, really one of three. You can go without sunscreen and go to the beach with a long-sleeved shirt and long pants and gloves and socks and a big old hat. Or you could make your own. And I blogged about this. Some of the recipes include different types of oils that naturally have some sort of SPF quality to them. The problem is that these natural oils and products usually have a very low dose of SPF. So you will still have, like SPF 6, I'm not kidding you. So you will still have to wear the long sleeve shirt, the pants, the gloves, the socks, and the big hat. Or they suggest you purchase extremely expensive sunblocks that are made out of what they call natural components. And so what we're seeing here is this war, natural versus synthetic, natural versus, sort of man-made chemicals, man-made components that go into these sunblocks. And what bothers me is, these, when I say these are expensive, these are like $35 for 4 ounces. It's a tiny tube.
Wow.
And many of them are very thick and they go on your skin, sort of like Crisco. And if you have children, if anybody, I think moms are going to understand this, and I wrote about this in my blog, is applying sunscreen to my children is like bathing a cat. They don't like it done. They don't like to be rubbed with lotions. They claim that I'm poking them, I'm harming them, I'm hurting them. They scream. So I love the spray sunblocks, and I like the ones with the high SPF. So you have all of these environmental groups that are saying these are terrible chemicals. You have mommy bloggers who are putting up recipes for homemade sunblocks that only protect you for like 6 minutes in the sun. And it's all unnecessary. And so again, women are being told to purchase extremely expensive, sort of trendy, Tony products because of misinformation they're seeing on the internet. So I just wanted to put this up there and say, look, these are tested products. You can't just put things that are dangerous out into the marketplace, particularly if they're marketed for children. They're tested products. They're perfectly safe. And skin cancer organizations and dermatologists tell you you're perfectly fine using these sunscreens, and in fact, they'll protect you against melanoma and burns. So again, I just really wanted to reassure women that the affordable, higher SPF sunscreens are perfectly safe, and to try to ignore the hysteria you see out there.
You have to ignore the hysteria out here, because otherwise, look, okay, so our kids are fat. And so they've got to run around outside and play.
Right.
Can't sit on the couch in the shade inside where they would not get a sunburn. You have to go outside and play because they're too obese. So you send them outside to play. It was, like I said, it was 97 degrees yesterday. Okay, so I can either slather my kid up in Crisco or $35 Crisco for 4 ounces.
Right.
Or I can put them in long sleeve shirts and long sleeve pants and a big floppy hat and say, go run around outside and play so you don't get fat in the 96-degree heat. Right? Look, I'm going to say something very controversial.
I'm ready.
Julie, okay?
I'm ready.
I don't think other people can actually tell people how to parent. I really don't. And I don't think you really need books. I don't really think I don't think you need a cottage industry of experts and consultants telling people how to be parents. I got married the day before I turned 23 years old, and I became an instant father to an 11-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. And God knows I wasn't perfect. I can go through the litany of mistakes that I made. But my kids turned out pretty good. I'm proud of my kids. And it's always going to be a learning curve because every child is different. Every family is different. So I say disregard the experts. You are the expert when it comes to your family. You are the expert when it comes to your kids. But not some columnist, not some blogger.
Right. But the problem is, and I agree with you, but what the problem is that a lot of really well-meaning, I think there's tons of women out there who would agree with you, would agree with everything you say and feel like they need to trust their instincts and they have pretty good instincts. But then they see things like this, right? And they see Dr. Oz say these things, or they see these mommy bloggers who they've, maybe they go and read about, a few health issues or read what this mommy blogger is doing. And they trust these women. They trust Dr. Oz. They trust some of these public health experts. And then these people say these things without an ounce of scientific evidence, actually contrary to the evidence, contrary to what the medical community is saying. And because these people, they're mommy bloggers, they're trusted, they're harder to caricature. this goes over really well. And so you have a lot of women who are, who really go to these sources for information, and they're getting bad information. As a result, you're going to have a lot of kids with sunburns. There's some question about melanomas and skin cancers, and there's some new research out there. But if we're going to just boil this down to the basic issues here, sunburns hurt. They hurt children. They make things unpleasant. You don't want kids to have to put on 17 layers to protect themselves from the sun when there are products out there that will protect them. And again, listening to people who have these phobias about synthetic chemicals in products isn't really a good way to make medical decisions for your children. You should talk to your doctor. You should talk to, or you should look for real sources like cancer researchers or dermatologists. They do not agree with this hysterical message out there that sunscreens are dangerous. They're saying, no, these things are perfectly safe and you should use them. You certainly should not be making your own in the kitchen and slathering SPF 6 on your child before you send them out for hours at the beach. There are better products out there made by chemists that are easier to apply, and these are the products we should be telling women and all parents to pay to buy for their children.
I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but
well, you get my point. I mean, yeah.
But if you want, absolutely, I know, I get your point. Yes, I do. All right, listen. I want to talk about one of the other topics here on my very handy list of blog topics.
Actually, I was very busy this week.
What I want to ask about is, you were. Thank you. What are the mommy blogs saying about the rash of women who have been arrested for being parents, for letting kids go play in the park? Are they upset with mom, or are they upset for mom?
It's a great question, Cam, honestly, and it's really troubling to see the difference of opinion. You've got some people that are just horrified with the fact that this woman was arrested. We're talking about the case of the woman who worked at McDonald's, let her child go and play at a park armed with a cell phone. And a park that many parents were at and other children. This was not an empty lot, in a bad part of town. It was a perfectly safe neighborhood, and lots of parents were around. She let her daughter go and play, and she was arrested. She was arrested, charged with abandoning her child. I've seen this written up, and I've been actually reading some of the comments in the different newspapers, and you get it. It's all over the map. Some people say, this is terrible, and others say, look, this is a different time. It's not safe. Children shouldn't be left alone. What's so frustrating is people actually don't know the facts. Crime is down in this country. Crime, directed at children is down in this country. And so I think if, we didn't have, we have a 24-hour news cycle, right, that's constantly pumping out horrifying stories. We've got sort of crime entertainment shows, CSI and all those, CSI New York, CSI, CSI Dubuque. I mean, it's unbelievable how many CSIs there are now, right? So, and this is all like entertainment around violent crime, and sometimes it's about children. It's so creepy, some of the stories that go, sort of center on crime against children, and so people are just inundated with this, and they have this perception that crime is through the roof. It's not. It's actually down in this country since the 90s. And I think if people understood that, we wouldn't see things, we wouldn't see comments. People throw around comments like, oh, it's more dangerous nowadays. It's not. It's not. It's not more dangerous today. And we need to allow parents to make decisions that are good for their children. We don't need to say all parents should allow their children to go play unattended in a park with a cell phone. I mean, this woman trusted her child. She made a decision based on her relationship and her knowledge of that child. That's good parenting, and that's what we should be allowed to do, not have one size fits all. No 9-year-old child can go to the park. I mean, this is what, these kinds of rules that are laid out for everyone is what's really problematic.
All right, one final question here before we let you go here is, because like I said, I don't really give a rat's ass what other people think about my parenting skills. I'm happy with them. But let's say, and my kids aren't latchkey kids, but I was a latchkey kid growing up for a few years because my parents got divorced. My mom had to work. Is being a latchkey kid are parents frowned on if their kids are latchkey kids now?
I think so, and it's really unfortunate because the age at which a child can stay alone by themselves, whether it's in a car with a car window rolled down, or in the home, it seems to be getting older and older and older. I can't. My husband also had to stay home alone. He had a key. He and his twin sister. They had to call their mom as soon as they got in the house. They were fairly young, and I think nowadays that age seems to be increasing, and we have to understand parents need to be able to make decisions based on the individual child and shouldn't be made to feel bad. I mean, people have to work, and people can't all afford childcare, and some children are just more mature and able to handle situations than others. We should allow parents to make those decisions, not penalize them for that. Just a quick story. I was at the beach this weekend and I went into a bakery, and I was there was a group of people outside, and I was so terrified that they would call the cops. I took all 3 children into the bakery, and it was miserable. And honestly, I could see them from the window. I so desperately wanted to just leave them in the car so I could run in and get, the 2 things that I needed. The counter was literally 5 feet from where the car was parked, but I was so nervous that someone would call the police that I took them all in. And then I ended up screaming at them for about 15 minutes after we went to the bakery because they were annoying. So, I mean, what's better? What's better?
I don't know. Just slather them in Crisco and send them outside, Julie. Really,
that's what we should be doing.
Exactly. Uncle Cam's parenting camp. Slather them in Crisco. Send them outside. That'll be $500, please.
Where do I
Thank
sign
you. We'll have to set that up. We'll get an online registration form.
Great.
Julie, thank you so much for being on the program. It's always good talking with you, and hopefully I'll be back up there on the mothership here in the next few weeks.
Good.
And we'll get to see each other in person again.
Okay, good. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Oh, my pleasure, as always. Julie Gunlock joined us from the Independent Women's Forum.